What's up, everybody? How's it going? Wait.
It feels so weird to just like go in like this.
Yeah. A little limited on time today, so why mess with all the hoopla? Hi, welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler. I come to you from Nerdrotic and my mom's vagina, and we're here to talk about whatever's going on. We're waiting for our guest, but in the meantime, we can certainly talk about Ahsoka with Chris Gore. Hi, Chris Gore.
Hey Gary, what's going on? I'm in a bad mood, not just because of Ahsoka, which I watched last night. I watched You and As, which I recommend people check out. That live stream was super fun. I got up at an ungodly hour, at least for me, so that I could get a hotel room to Dragon Con, and did not get a hotel room for Dragon Con.
I'm hearing first nerd problems right now.
Yeah, I know it is first nerd problems. All right, fine, fuck. F it. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
So like, is the hotel situation turning into the San Diego hotel situation?
It's worse. They're sold out before you even it's just like spinning wheels and whatever. And look, I'll get there somehow. But for me, roughing it is staying at a Courtyard Marriott. I can't.
You
can't
are an
do that
indoorsman.
myself.
You're the great indoorsman.
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
other words, if you got a really nice house, an extra really nice house near Dragon Con, Chris would like to use it. That's what he's
Yes, or a hotel in close proximity. I'll just probably. I'm hoping you go to Dragon Con, dude. It's you would of. And the G&G crew, they gotta go, because everyone I ran into kept asking me about you and like Jeremy and Mr. Kinnell. They kept asking me, like, where are those guys? Why aren't they here?
Jeremy's playing video games till 4 a.m. Ryan's being racist somewhere.
I'm making like 10 videos a day.
And making 10 videos a day. Pissing off Director X, which I did too.
Yeah. Oh my God, I saw those videos. Those are hilarious.
Anyways,
I'm sorry.
We're gonna play that.
Apologies for my complaining. It is not a big deal, but it is
when you plan. And, they offer up these hotel rooms. And the thing with conventions is the reason they have conventions in big cities is it's a big coordinated effort, right? Mm-hmm. They work with the hotel rooms to get blocks of hotels at cheaper prices, and you give the convention goers access. That allows the hotels to get guaranteed their hotels filled. That's been the big problem with San Diego, by the way, because the hotel, they're called the hoteliers. They're basically the crime families, the gangsters of San Diego. They run the town because it's still a huge tourist town, and they don't need San Diego. They've never needed San Diego. They usually have maximum occupancy, especially in the middle of summer, at full price, whatever their jacked up prices with the ridiculous hotel taxes. So San Diego has always been kind of a thorn in their side. They work with them, but if San Diego Comic-Con left, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care at all.
I mean, if you try to book a room just, normally during San Diego Comic-Con, it's $800 a night for a regular room. So it's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. But thankfully, I actually live in Pasadena, right 3 blocks from the Pasadena Convention Center. So this weekend, I went to the Halloween 45, which is the 45th anniversary of the release of the original Halloween, directed by John Carpenter. And I picked up this delightful children's book, which is a retelling. It's a retelling of the first movie, but in a children's book format. And I met the author, Owner Tuchel, and David Gordon Green apparently is one of the authors. And it's just this delightful children's retelling of the story of Halloween.
That's great.
So yeah, a lot of fun.
Hey,
a lot of fun.
I would prefer that book be in preschools than some other books we've seen in preschools. And
True.
Know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably learn more life lessons from Halloween.
Yeah,
learn how to run from a psycho with a knife, or just a psycho.
Don't make
which the other
mistakes.
books are about. You know what I'm saying? The other books are about.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? They're just as crazy, same kind of crazy, but Michael Myers is at least a little more open about it when he carries.
He's up front. I want to. Stab you.
He's being. Michael Myers is being his authentic self. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
By wearing a bleached out William Shatner mask and chasing you around with a knife, wanting to kill you dead. That's his authentic self. And praise
I see him. I hear him.
He feels seen. behind his mask. He does.
I need to watch that movie.
Hi, X-Ray Girl.
Hi. I was watching a stream about Halloween, the movie, and that made me think I haven't watched it. So I will do it. I'm going to have to do it. Oh my God, your face, Chris.
You got to see. First of all, it was great because the convention ended with a panel with John Carpenter was there, and PJ Souls made an appearance, which PJ Souls, when I was a young man, both in the film Stripes and Halloween, was Chef's Kiss, PJ Souls breasts. So there you are. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm in the middle of my Ahsoka review. I think I just shot like 4.5 minutes to Garrett. He's working on it. I'm going to work on the rest of it right after this show because it's a quick turnaround. Not used to those. Usually I get a week between videos. Sometimes I take 10 days. Sorry. Because Loki is coming out. So before we get to Ahsoka, somebody here has seen Loki. We can't get into details, but Chris, is Disney Marvel saved?
I will say this, having seen the first 4 episodes of Loki, the answer to that is no. It's as convoluted as season 1 with all sorts of made up situations where everyone is I would say something like in a tizzy and upset over something that has to be accomplished, which is ultimately meaningless. Kihei Kwan is a new character in there. Who has a previous relationship with Morbius. They met, and it's just dumb. They don't really outline what the stakes are. There's a situation where God, I don't even know the name of the character. All I know is that you call this character Body Positivity Officer.
Yeah.
So she's back for season 2, but I forget her character's name. Anyways, they're looking at this. Something's happening where basically these threads are disappearing, which is whole multiverses. And they're looking at a screen where these threads are going away, like Vine's disappearing. And they're just saying billions of people are gone, but it has no weight. They don't show the cost, and it's ultimately meaningless. They have to find a Kang variant from the 1800s that's at this old timey carnival, and you saw it basically connects directly to the Ant-Man 3 post-credit scene.
Yeah,
where the actual end post-credit scene where you see Loki. They actually it seems like they used footage from that. They just clipped it and added it at the end of Ant-Man 3, so you get to see what happens with that Kang variant, and it ends in such a stupid way. They need Kang's essence to be able to fix something.
His essence
of Kang, but
where do
Kang doesn't
wait, where do they get this essence?
From exactly, yeah.
Essence of Kang. Ooh.
Essence of Kang. So there are no in the current timeline. There are no Kangs. You know
what the hell is
remains.
even that?
So they've got to go to a different timeline. They're 1800s. They pluck him from that. And he's basically a shyster. He's a con man who pretends he knows science, but doesn't. He's not a very good Kang. And Jonathan Majors, who I believe has been a good actor in things in the past, is awful as this Kang. It's in episode 3 and 4. He's so terrible, but they've leaned into Kang so they're going to different versions of the TVA, and in one of the versions they have all these like statues of Kang. So what happened? And they need his essence. They have to pluck him from another universe. And then of course he dies in a way that's like a lot. I'm sorry if these are spoilers. I don't know that anybody cares.
I don't.
Does anyone care? I mean, I hope I'm not pissing anyone off with this.
We'll be nice.
Ask the chat. I don't want to piss anyone off here.
We're covered now.
Okay, good. Spoilers, folks. But yeah, it's similar to like Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness. He just sort of spaghettis himself. It's weird.
He spaghettis himself?
Well, not intentionally.
Okay.
He gets spaghettied. Let's say that.
So the big villain Kang dies again.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, how are they building to Kang being the big bad when this variant of him is just this con man shyster who's ripping people off, and then of course he's wanted all over town because he claims to have invented this. Well, that's not even a part of it, but he claims to have invented this new form of energy, and these guys bid for it to get the rights to it, and he just sells it to the highest bidder, but it's all fake. So he's not a genius. This Kang is not a genius. He's an idiot. So, but it's so weird, and his performance is so bad.
I heard it was bad.
It was just like, how is this guy have the weight? At least they with James Brolin, they did such a good job of the buildup. They teased it. You didn't really see him. And Infinity War is so good. Like when you look at, I mean, it is a Thanos's movie, really. That's the Thanos film.
Well, Infinity War,
right?
yes, that's his film. And it was a great buildup. And that time is long since passed. Kang's not a great villain in the comics, dude. That's why they've had to retcon him so many times. And all these Kang personas weren't originally Kang personas. They made them Kang personas later, right?
Right.
So time traveling multiple versions of villains, there's like no real stakes in that. Even in the comic books, it works when you are on, issue 300 of the Avengers or something,
right.
and over 50 years. That's fine. It works in that kind of serialized storytelling. Think of it, like people always talk about the One Piece anime being 1,000. Yeah, well, it's the same thing with comic books. There's filler, there's bad issues, there's good issues. Rocket Racer and Amazing Spider-Man, Stiltman. There's some crazy shit in comic books, but for the movies, you still have so much to work with. The best, and you chose Kang. What about Mephisto? Everybody was talking about Mephisto. That's actually a very good villain, a bigger bad than Thanos. It's essentially the devil. I mean, like, why wouldn't you use Mephisto and lead him up to other bigger bad villains like Annihilus and, Galactus and...
Galactus. To me, Galactus is, as a kid, when I read that 3-issue arc, and there would be things that like held over. I mean, this is like early days of me reading comics, and I read them in reprint form, right? In the 70s, because they would be those giant size. And when I got to that 3-issue arc with the introduction of the Silver Surfer and Galactus, I thought I'm never going to see a movie as good as the story that I just read, this 3-issue story, which has pathos and Galactus and the Watcher and the Ultimate Nullifier, Reed Richards with like this, like there's so many layers to it. And it's also the buildup of 48 issues of the Fantastic Four already to get to this incredible story, the Planet Eater. And like, why not Galactus? Or at least if they tell the Fantastic Four story, tell the story of Galactus in the 60s with the Yancey Street gang. One of my favorite things, that panel where Ben Grimm just goes plink and just sort of hits one of the Yancey Street guys. He just it's just like he just uses his finger like a flick. Blink.
One of the greatest 3-issue arc in comic book history.
Period.
Probably. Yeah. Yes. 3 issues.
Yeah.
3. Not 50 issues with multiple variants crossing over all titles for 2 years. 3 issues.
Yeah.
We need
3 issues.
That's what they need to go back to, and they didn't. Mark Millar pointed that out too.
Well, I mean, look, you can. I don't mind you can experiment in comics. I like that. You can do crazy villains. Do you remember when Johnny Storm? There was like a multiverse version of him called Guard, where he looked like a hockey player. He was, oh my God, it was so, but I thought that was so, but I was reading comics then. It was like, all right, well, whatever.
But back to the movies though, like Kang is something you put on Disney Plus.
Right.
That's not that's not your big bad that you lead into. And this is the problem with them. Like they got so arrogant. They thought they could just spam Marvel at people and push out these. They thought it was about the Marvel brand. They thought it was about the letters Marvel in that red rectangle. And they didn't realize that Marvel is actually Spider-Man, X-Men, Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, and that's about it.
That's it. The spin-off, and this is the thing that people are going to forget this stuff. Do you remember the post-credit scene from Shang-Chi? because I do. Because
Oh yeah,
Bruce Banner's in there
with his sling, by the way.
And Captain Marvel, and they talk to Shang-Chi, and what's her name? Is it Kate?
X-Ray Girl.
It's X-Ray Girl.
Marvel's Katie. Marvel's Katie. Marvel's Katie.
By the way, I thought of X-Ray Girl. I was in my bathroom. I'm doing some little home improvements. I'm in my bathroom, and I have some caulk, and I was thinking of X-Ray Girl because I have some caulk. And I know X-Ray Girl loves caulk.
Please give me You know what's so funny too? I asked my dad yesterday. I'm like, we need
sorry. I have to call Ryan. I have to call the HR DEI officer.
This is I had
clear violation.
We need
to get some caulk for my bathroom, and there's some
caulk for my bathroom too.
Look, we both need caulk. We'll share a caulk. This is getting clipped, Gary. I know it. I'm so sorry.
We are. Well, I mean, it's honestly, it's better than talking about Loki, which,
right.
So, okay, Chris.
Okay, anyway, sorry.
So you watched 4 episodes, right?
Yeah.
And you do know there's only 2 left after this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's
only 6 episodes.
A 6-episode series.
I don't know where they're leading, why I care. Loki doesn't even act like there are lines in this that are just so bad in terms of the dialogue. You're like, Loki wouldn't have spoken that way. And they try to build it up like it's supposed to be this buddy movie between like Morbius and him, or like a buddy thing. And they have this whole conversation that is completely out of character for the two of them. I think it was in episode 2 where Loki's concerned he may have hurt Morbius's feeling. And I'm thinking like, it's not Loki. They have this whole conversation about, well, you were leading, or I'm following you. You're following me. Well, I didn't want to and now I'm sitting here and I'm going like, that's the screenwriter recounting a conversation they had in real life, who decided that it was so clever they should put it in a Loki series.
Yeah.
Because it was out of character for both of them to act so worried about what the other, and I'm thinking like, I can't, it's not how 2 men talk to each other.
There's the problem. We don't have men writing for Disney right now. So I'm not surprised at all. But what about Sylvie?
Oh yeah. Sylvie's in it. She works at a McDonald's.
We saw that. Does she
goes
do anything? She was pretty important last series.
Yeah, she leaves the McDonald's to go on this journey. I don't know.
She goes on a journey to find herself, right? Isn't there an older version of her in this?
God, I don't even remember I wasn't really paying attention to her.
Well, I was watching. I don't know if any of it's true. Supposedly there's an older version of her that's filled with regret over what she decided to do at the end of the first one. That could be wrong, though, because I watched it on a YouTube video. Naturally, everything on YouTube is absolutely true all the time.
100%.
Yep.
But there's like an uprising at the TVA. The TVA is splintered, and then there's a way that most of the people from the TVA are killed.
Okay, and then supposedly the person behind that uprising is older Sylvie. Supposedly played by Lysa Arryn, the woman who played Lysa Arryn in Game of Thrones.
Yes, that's it. That's her.
Yes.
That's what happens.
Yeah, so she becomes the most prominent thing in it.
It's one of those things where it's like, you can do a show like this. You can make it seem like things that are happening in this world are cataclysmic circumstances. They just don't pull it off. You've also got like the varying, I think, look, Tom Hiddleston is the sell for this show because he's just stuck with horrible scripts and horrible, at least they don't emasculate him as much as they did the first season. He's not as horribly emasculated.
Okay.
Which is,
that's good.
It is what it is. But, so, and it's like not overtly, and I like Kihei Kwan. It just, they make him this character. I like him. Unfortunately, I find him hard to understand in this. He's like speaking so fast, right? I think that's part of the character. But it's I don't know. Like ultimately, I'm like, why do I care? I feel like these multiverse things are such a great opportunity for ideas they haven't done. Do you remember the rumors before Multiverse of Madness when it was going to come out? And they're like, Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise, and this is what they're going to do. They're going to be all these cameos. Then there was nothing. And everything multiverse they've done, they haven't used the idea well.
No, because they haven't
at all.
No, there is a way to use to use it to work, to fix what has gone wrong.
Right.
And ultimately, it's just a big lazy buildup to reboot. I mean, I think it's pretty clear they're going to reboot everything. They're going to have to, you know.
I mean, to me, they should have rebooted. They should have showed restraint. Not done anything Marvel for 2 years. Nothing.
After Endgame, take a complete break. Yeah. Yes.
And then reboot with a new Avengers cast. Now, you know that one of the ideas, this has been long reported, and I got this directly from a friend who used to work at POW Entertainment, which was Stan Lee's company. And so, funny story behind that, but I'll tell you off camera. I'll tell you later when I see you.
Okay.
Or just a private conversation.
I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, for sure. We're debating fun things to do in Los. I want to convince Mrs. Nerdrotic to go to this Academy Museum.
Can we
see the John Waters?
Well, it's Halloween season. Can we visit the haunted tents in City and Beverly Hills? I want to see
the haunted tents. Beverly Hills is a ghost town.
What about Skid Row? What about the zombie apocalypse of
Skid Row? Is the Walking Dead maze Skid Row in downtown Los Angeles. Don't pay all this money to get front of the line at Universal Studios Halloween
Horror Nights when you can go to Skid Row and see the real zombie apocalypse.
Skid Row, it's Walking Dead.
It'll only
Ghost
cost
Town.
you your life.
Ghost Town, literally Beverly Hills. Shops closing everywhere in Beverly Hills. Guess what? Pasadena, unaffected. Completely unaffected.
Well, because they got based leadership there.
Yeah. They don't play that LA crap.
So
Karen Bass destroying the city. Anyways,
she didn't win, by the way. That thing was
weird.
Very questionable election.
It seemed weird. The other guy was ahead, and then
late at night she got this real boost.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's weird. It's weird. Weird.
So Loki isn't going to put Marvel on track, like we all expected.
No.
And then it's Echo, Ironheart, Agatha, Black Captain America, Falcon. And then there's nothing. So everybody's talking about Deadpool 3. Well, they didn't finish shooting it. The actors are not. By the way, the Film Actors Guild is not back. The strike is still on. So all of these reports of everything's getting ramped up, unless it got an exemption, which most likely it has to be an independent feature to do that for the most part.
Yeah.
Nothing's getting ramped up. The writers are probably getting back to work on their scripts and stuff, but the actors, there's no deal. So the strike is not over. It's not over. And probably won't be for, a minimum a couple days. And then they have to take a couple of weeks to ramp everything up and move all the schedules. So Deadpool 3 will be moved to 2024 without a doubt.
Oh, 100%. But sorry, I didn't finish my thought about.
Yeah. Go ahead.
One of the rumors about Endgame is that the Avengers lose. In fact, they all die. And Captain Marvel somehow goes back in time and plucks younger versions of Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, Thor, and just collects them and brings them back to the present. And it was supposed to end with them somehow being defeated, whatever. And then you were going to introduce.
They did that with Iron Man in the comics, by the way.
Yeah. So this was one of the things that was discussed with the Russo brothers, which I hope to get to interview. They're doing all these.
What about all that deleted footage of Robert Downey Jr. in his SHIELD uniform?
Right. I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
I just know that there were a lot with Endgame, because Endgame was going to, that was a big deal. There were a lot of story things.
Can I take the spoilers tag off now?
Yeah, you can take the spoilers tag off.
Sorry,
but also, one of the things, and this has been widely reported, Jon Favreau did not want Tony Stark to die. The Russo brothers had to have a conversation with Favreau and say, this character you contributed greatly to creating, along with Robert Downey Jr., we're going to kill him off. And Jon Favreau's response was, I think that's a bad idea. And I think Favreau was right.
He was right.
He was right.
He was absolutely
bad
right.
Idea.
Killing Tony Stark, you recast. That if superhero
Recast.
movies are going to move forward, they're going to have to be Bond-esque, which was Sony's original idea for Spider-Man back in the day. They're like, they knew, hey, we can't have these creators forever. We'll get them to do 1 or 2 films, and we'll recast. And you can do it and kind of keep it in the same continuity and just recast people as time goes on. And they didn't do that. They freaked out because they had bad leadership. And
now they're in this sort of there's sort of this like crossover of like, we've got new characters, we got some of the old that you like, and it's not working. They needed a hard reboot and go away for a little bit. And I always think of it as kind of like you read runs of comics, and it's like, well, Kirby Lee, Fantastic Four, I'm used to this. And then you go to like, a different writer, illustrator, or artist combo, the comic book changes in tone, right? Changes in tone with a new writer, 100%. It just does. But you get used to it, and it's a different, it's just a different run of a comic, and they'll add something new and fresh to it. And it takes a little getting used to, and then it's good. So I mean, you mind that.
You go to Ditko to Romita. Romita tries to draw in his style for a little while for the transition, but then they just abandoned that. And then it got to a point where you had artists on, but they never really, I mean, they cranked out a lot of comics, and they were much better than the artists of today at getting stuff out on time. But you would still have fill-in artists once in a while. And we get mad about it, but whatever,
Yeah, you get over it, you get used to it, and there are good runs.
When Klaus Janson would completely take over for Frank Miller, it took a little getting used to. But Frank Miller was getting looser with his stuff as time went on, and Klaus was filling in more. So yeah,
looser, or he was playing drink and draw at home.
Yeah,
maybe.
like my son was asking like what happened to his art style, and I'm like, well, the artist will tell you that they are getting a little more abstract. It is more of their style. I'd say, they're drinking a little more and they're getting lazier, but that's just me. Yeah. Because there's other artists, like as much as I criticize Jim Lee's art has actually improved over time. Mark Silvestri's art has improved. There's a lot of artists out there. Graham Nolan still draws just as well now as he did back then. So there's artists who keep and get better, but some don't.
Yeah.
John Romita Jr., who was getting a lot of help from Bob Layton at the, remember the John Romita Jr. Spider-Man books? They look tight. But then you found out, Bob Layton was basically drawing those.
But what's weird is that being used to like the Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, like comics of the Fantastic Four, John Buscema, like really, he took over when? Like kind of a little after that.
On what comic, sorry?
Fantastic Four.
He took over later.
But I liked his style. It was
love
different.
His both of
70s.
Him and his brother, Sal, him and his brother did like freaking their Hulk was awesome. Like that's the Hulk I grew up on, right? That's the Hulk I dived in on in the late 70s. So, and of course, there's Conan. So they're like, they were fucking awesome, man. But that's what happens. Styles change, things change, and it can actually add to it if you find the right person. And you know what? That way you're not locked into these big. If one guy comes along and makes a POS, you ditch him, and you get somebody else for the next movie. Like Bond survived all of that, and I think we're past the time where they can survive that, though. I think certainly we can. If they adapt some underground book or semi, like a Crow reboot. Is a horrible idea. Just shouldn't be done. But if you want to take another crack at Hellboy, sure. Just take it seriously, because Hellboy's great fantasy. Like it is such a solid run of books that you can make movies forever on that if you did it right. But Crow should not be redone. No. But something like that. If you want to take another crack at the Mask, I mean, it's good luck, but or find other characters like that. Maybe try Conan again. Make Conan. I know that'd be a little difficult for Hollywood, though, because we were talking about it yesterday on the Real BBC, Chris. It's not that they can't do it. It's lack of willingness. Marvel could certainly cast a all-white Fantastic Four. Ben Grimm is Jewish. They look like they did in Kirby's comic books, you even make it a period piece, and that would give it the best chance to succeed. And you know they won't do that, and that's unwillingness. It's not can't. It's unwillingness. Still, it's self-editing.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Kevin Feige just got to realize, like, you know, you've got how many years of Fantastic Four history since 61? Was it November 61 is the first issue?
Yep.
Like, oh my God, like, think of the years, over 60 years of comic book history with this. And then you're going to make I don't know. I just don't like it as much as, like, Michael Jordan was fine in that kind of experimental Josh Trank Fantastic Four, which, by the way, I saw opening day in a theater with 3 other people.
Michael B. Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, Michael B. Yeah, I'm sorry, Michael B. Jordan.
Did I miss a Fantastic Four movie?
Yeah, with Michael Jordan. He's really good at basketball. No, but so I saw that and it was just like, and it was this different. It's like, well, I'm basing it on the comics that are the sort of newer versions. I remember buying some of those and going, this is garbage. It's not even fun. You know, that was the thing that I loved about the Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four was always a fun book.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. It's just fun.
Well,
and the humor, and also that it would be a great mix of, like, humor and then really serious circumstances.
Yeah.
Like serious circumstances.
They took on the biggest stuff. Like they took on the craziest, biggest stuff. And it was the perfect comic book. It's the Fantastic Four is perfect for its medium. Very difficult to adapt, not impossible. You get the right person. The Fantastic Four could be the best comic book movie out there if you really find somebody who knows what the hell they're doing and reads a lot. And not just the Kirby Lee run. Go beyond that, because it's a solid run. Get to John Byrne, who absolutely loved the fan.
John Byrne.
His run was great too. And you can also introduce a lot of characters. It's not just the Fantastic Four. You know, Spider-Man's a huge part of the Fantastic Four. He interacted with them a lot. You get the She-Hulk. She-Hulk was a good character in the comic books. When it was in Byrne's hands with She-Hulk was a great character in the comic books.
When she took over for the Thing and she was in the Fantastic Four costume. Oh, it was so great.
And you know what we read it.
I loved it.
Like, we weren't like, I wasn't ecstatic over it, but Thing went into his own solo series, right? Which was pretty good too. And it turned out being really good. So there you go.
Do you remember Thing 2-in-1?
Marvel 2-in-1? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Those were my favorite as a little kid, every time superheroes were teaming up. So Marvel Team Up, Brave and the Bold, Marvel 2-in-1. Those were all my favorite books.
2-in-1 is a comic. By the way, 2-in-1 is a comic, not a thing on Pornhub for those listening.
Yeah. Marvel 2-in-1 is a comic book. And correct me if I'm wrong, chat. They served a purpose. Like like Spider-Man Marvel Team Up and Marvel 2-in-1 served continuity purposes. I can't remember the order it was, but one like introduced characters, the other one's kind of dispatched characters or fixed continuity errors with it, but they actually had an editorial purpose. But you get weird team-ups too. You get
I love that.
You know, Thing and Ghost Rider.
Right.
Cool.
Like what? Yeah, I love those. It was just like, that's what made it so, oh God, man, I just remember riding my bike to the drugstore to get a popsicle and a stack of comics for still only 35 cents. Do you remember every time it would say still only, you're like, oh, they're raising the price.
I know they are. That's when I started at still only 25 cents. That was my first book. So.
Yeah. I wasn't in the 12-cent era or 15-cent era. I missed that. But I got a lot of reprints of that stuff, like in the giant.
Dude, you could get that for $1, which $1, frankly, was like $10 now back then.
Yeah,
so
it was a lot of money.
It was a lot of
money.
money.
And then the Treasury editions. You remember the big Treasury editions?
Dude,
still have some of those.
I have almost all of them. I love the Treasury editions because those were things that were really hard to find when you were a kid. You had to work.
When you were a kid, and they weren't cheap either. They're more expensive.
They're more expensive, but those were our trade. It was. Marvel Origins, Son of Origins. Yes. That's the only way we read those Origin comics was through those Fireside books, which were the original TPBs back in the day.
Yeah, the reprint stuff. God I just lived on reprints.
It's too bad that Disney burned through all of this great Marvel history to get right to the all new, all different era. Oh wait, they didn't. They didn't use any of it. They went right to Kang because
so many great storylines. I just don't see Kang, having seen the first. Nearly most of the Loki series, I'm not invested. I'm not invested. I
do
don't
you
know
feel
what.
like you've seen a full show that's ramping up to its end after 4 episodes?
No, I don't even get that sense. But the thing is to me, and this ties into Ahsoka, which I know we'll discuss soon, is to me, character and story need to be intertwined. I don't know what Loki wants. I guess he wants to not die or not exist. That's not enough. He needs to want something. All the characters, and when you look at really great storytelling, let's bring up One Piece, right? Really great storytelling. It's the characters' needs, goals tie into the story. Nami, which later, in the final few episodes, we finally get her story, is the most heartbreaking of all of them, and this is after Zorro, which I think I think there's more to that story. In my understanding, I heard what happens to the girl that he's friends with as a young man, who beats her. She beats him, in sword fighting. He cannot beat her.
Oh yeah.
But I heard what happens,
Helena.
and I hope they change it a little bit.
What?
Because it sounds stupid. What happens in I'm not going to say it. I hope
in the what?
In the comics and the manga.
Oh, in the manga.
Yeah, she reaches obviously she's dead. But what happened? And I found out, and it sounds, I don't like it. I think
that's probably why they left it out. See, so I don't know what the manga or anime. I'm actually, the show did its job. I'm gonna.
Yes, to me, yes. But she dies off.
She dies off screen. Yeah, which is fine. It's absolutely. I think I had no problem with it. It had way more impact. I think it had way more impact in that.
I had no problem with it, but I didn't believe it. I'm like, oh, she's coming back. Something will pay off. She disappeared for a reason. She disappeared out of his life, and he's traumatized by it.
And maybe she does come back. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know because I didn't read it. I judged the show for itself, but I thought it really worked. They are so freaking tight and compact with their storytelling in that show. It is unbelievable. Not a second is wasted. And then you go back and watch freaking Ahsoka, dude, and it's like all it is wasted time. This is just wasted effing time. Nothing. You watch Ahsoka from beginning to end. What was accomplished? They switch sides. They switch sides.
Switch sides. It's first of all, this is the dumbest thing in the very end of the show. Ezra, first of all, what is their goal as they're going? They have to stop Thrawn. Stop Thrawn from what? And what is the plan? I don't know what their plan is. It's just to go there, 4 of them against a full start a story that can't shoot straight, that cannot shoot anything. And secondly, all these stormtroopers, and they brought in dumb ideas that just, I'm sorry, I know this has been in Rebels and all this stuff. Zombie stormtroopers is stupid. Zombies in Star Wars is stupid. Time travel in Star Wars is stupid. And witches in Star Wars,
is stupid. I'm not against. I like zombie stormtroopers, but not in this show. It doesn't work in this show. Zombie stormtrooper or zombie or Jedi's taking on zombies at some point would be cool if maybe it's something outside of the Empire. What Disney what Disney needs to do right now is basically create an original franchise. You could probably use some Jedi or some Force users, but you're going to have to invent an entire new. You can't do this Empire, fucking rebellion, Republic. You can't do it anymore. It's done to fucking death, and you had your chance and you blew it with the Disney trilogy. So now you're going to have to pluck more from the EU because there are outside forces that they could bring in. I know the Mortis gods or whatever. Listen, what they're doing with Heir to the Empire is horrible. So they're plucking little things from it and repurposing it. So Emergency Awesome did a video a couple days ago that I completely agree with. And the little Bijan Frise, the little fucking poodle, is Mara Jade, is a repurposed Mara Jade. Oh. How much does that piss you off? If I was an EU fan, my head would explode. My head would explode.
They totally didn't even use Balin's skull.
No.
His character journey ends with him looking at statues. So he had a different purpose then to go out there. Like the thing is this, what are you waiting for? Tell me the thing. the thing is, this is what pisses me off about all this Disney Star Wars bullshit. Just do the thing. Pay off the things you're setting up.
Pay off something.
Pay off anything. Like the Balin Skoll, and I actually don't mind that character. I think I sent you a meme.
He's fine. He's fine as an idea, but the execution is just as shitty as everyone else. And Chris, Robert talked about this. This show is about fucking nothing. Seinfeld actually has more intellectual depth, which is admittedly a show about nothing and horrible people. This is a show about absolutely nothing. It's vacuous of any character. It just won an award, dude. But it won an award for having women in it. That'll be my video.
No. The organization that gave that award is an organization I am a part of. That I had nothing to do with the award, by the way.
I want to inform you and spoil my video, but I just put it up on Twitter. The Bechdel test, which is for this award, the Sophie Award, is based on the Bechdel test. The woman who made up the Bechdel test, Alison Bechdel, said it was a joke. It was never supposed to be a gauge. But Hollywood just ignores that. She did it as a parody comic. That was it. But now Hollywood and Disney and Marvel, that's their framework. And the woman who created said it's a joke. We live in parody world. But no, Chris, go back to the beginning of Disney Star Wars and D+. Let's go back to The Mandalorian, season 1. The whole point of these shows is supposed to set up the First Order. John Favreau said it. Everybody said it. How much has the First Order been set up in 4 years in multiple shows?
I don't.
Not at all. Nothing.
At all,
Not a fucking thing. They've alluded to some cloning, maybe, but nothing has been set up other than the New Republic is a matriarchy of morons.
Yeah. It's. I don't know, and then also the way it ended. It's the dumbest ending because first of all, they're going they could have said even, and I hate this. I know it's like, whatever they call Captain Plot or whatever. Like, are they going to take out one of the engines to at least lose their ability to go into hyperspace so they'll be trapped here and not go back to their galaxy? Is Ezra stealing a ship to go back and get his friends? To go back and get his friends so that he just goes back to his own galaxy. He leaves them stranded.
Yes.
It's so dumb.
And
none
then
of it makes sense.
The last time we see Ezra, he's doing a jump, a ridiculous jump, even for a Jedi, that he gets a force push from Sabine, who just learned the Force a minute ago.
Yeah.
Can now force push dudes onto a Star Destroyer. He incapacitates 2 stormtroopers, and then we don't see him again until he's flying an Imperial shuttle into a New Republic ship. Yeah. How did he escape the ship? How did they not notice that he escaped with an entire shuttle when they know they are alerted? Every time somebody they can track people on the surface of a planet. They're going to know when somebody takes a shuttle. So how did he get away? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. He shows up. They don't know who he is because they have their guns pulled on him. And what does he say? He pulls off his helmet, says hi, pats Chopper on the head, and he goes, "Hi, Hera." And he doesn't go, "We got to get back because I just abandoned Sabine and Ahsoka on another galaxy." None of that. He goes, "What's up, Hera?" And Hera goes, "What's up?" That's it.
Well, by the way, why does she have those goggles on her head?
I don't know.
I think you guys mentioned that. I didn't notice it until you she's got these goggles. When do you ever wear these goggles? Why do you keep wearing them? Is she a steampunk cosplayer? What's the deal? So, God.
Yeah. Does she wear them in Rebels? I can't even remember. I don't care. I simply don't care.
Yeah.
I've watched every Clone Wars episode, dude. I can remember about half of them because I watched them when they aired, which was years ago. I've slept since then.
Yeah.
But no, the worst thing, Ahsoka's everything wrong with Star Wars. It encapsulated in one series. Again, by the way, we get the same repeated pattern. They start a show, People get excited. They jangle a few keys. Some reactioners go out. They lose their fucking minds. And by the end of the show, everybody starts realizing they didn't watch anything with any meaning. So then it goes into the cope. But then we gain more in our ranks who are waking up going, oh, this is just shit. Yeah. And that's all it is. 10 years. 10 years. And this is what they've done. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy should get an award for a historic achievement in incompetence over a decade.
Well, just like taking a brand, Star Wars, and driving into the ground. I mean, of course, you're going to introduce new characters, new storylines, and whatnot. That's great. But the one thing that I think fans wanted to see, they just chose not to do. And there was something that is
unwillingness.
If I ever get to interview anyone or even talk to someone like Pablo Hidalgo again, or JJ Abrams, why did you not reunite Han, Luke, and Leia and tell that story? The thing that everyone wanted to see. Why did you not do that? That to me that's why I know it's popular to crap on Last Jedi. I think the big mistake was made in Force Awakens.
Yes.
The big mistake was made in Force Awakens to the way Han Solo went out, the way they were never reunited, and they didn't have a last adventure together, a last hurrah. It was all about the new characters, and not to say that you could not have built those new characters in the background and then do a handoff. Certainly Picard season 3 was able to do that, where you genuinely, hey, I really care about these new characters you've introduced. But the character Todd Stashwick plays the captain. I hope he's not dead.
You care about him by the end, though. See, so the new characters actually will help you into another trilogy while you give your original characters a send-off. You want to kill off Han Solo, he has to die trying to save his son. And you do it towards the end of a movie, probably the second one. I'm against killing Han Solo at all, but you definitely give them twins, Han and Leia twins. You definitely make one going dark, one not. But what everybody wanted to see, like if you want to just do the simplest thing, was a fully powered Luke Skywalker against a Dark Force user in a balls out battle. Fucking mountains and rocks flying everywhere. You know, it's just like two wizards at peak power fighting each other. You know, Harry Potter did that. Harry Potter did that with Dumbledore and Voldemort in the 5th movie. Yeah. You know, that's when you got your, oh shit, moment. That's what people wanted. They just wanted to see Luke Skywalker kick a little ass.
Well, they wanted, look, Mihawk, one of the best characters of One Piece, which I know we'll see more of. I mean, you see him when he's taking out those pirates and full ships and just going nuts. And he's doing it like it's nothing. That's the Luke I think we all wanted to see.
That is the Luke we wanted to see. And, a bad guy, formidable enough, a new one to take him on. You could have just invented a new one.
And it could have been a cloned emperor. Who knows? Whatever. Like,
it could have been something from outside the galaxy. I mean, Ryan brought this up, and I think it's in books. Not sure. Don't really care. But I love the idea of remnants of the Empire and the New Republic having to get together to fight an outside threat. Kind of like, Westeros. They all fucking hate each other, but they're going to have to come together to fight those White Walkers. At the end of Serenity, you had the Federation or the government, whatever they're called, and the Serenity having to join to fight the Reavers. That's cool. That's fucking cool. Yeah. That's good sci-fi.
Yeah, the ending pissed me off when Ezra arrived. I was just like, you left your friends back there. They quote saved you, and you left them. And
Sabine left him. So like Sabine abandoned him too, because she was supposed to jump off, and Ahsoka could have handled things on her own. She's supposedly a Jedi, even though she walked away from the Jedi Order. By the way, now Sabine, Flick Your Sabine, is a Jedi, is officially a Jedi. How? She force moved a lightsaber and helped Mary Poppins push Ezra, and she's a woman. That I don't know, because I know that Luke Took a long time. He wasn't a Jedi until he faced Vader.
Yeah. I just think they're playing fast and loose with this stuff. And as I finished it, I was just like, as I finished the episode last night, I'm thinking to myself, this is cartoon writing. Like, I wouldn't have minded this if it was in a cartoon, because I don't take them seriously. And in my opinion, I don't personally, to me, my headcanon, I don't consider the cartoons. Sorry, folks. I just don't. I don't care. The cartoons and the comics are great storytelling. It's fine. It's Elseworld stuff in my head. The only thing that matters to me is what happens in the movies. And to me, these Disney Plus series are just hot garbage that I just don't care to take seriously.
What totally sucks is Grand Admiral Yawn.
Oh,
who's
a
freaking idiot. He's just a blatant idiot. He ran away like a bitch. He could have just wiped out the planet. He was like, we got to save our resources, so we can only send 2 regiments. Now we got to send the regiments back. Now we got to send them back out. No, we got to save our resources, but let's send 2 TIE fighters this time. Oh, well, we can expect a ground attack, so let's have our stormtroopers wait inside while the 2.5 Jedi on their wargs attack him. Let's let him in. He's a fucking retard.
They should have made him threatening. I mean, imagine a scene where you've got those zombie stormtroopers on a planet and Thrawn just sort of sitting there almost like nothing, and some underling coming up to him and saying something like, that's the 3rd planet in this system that you've taken over. And he just says to himself, or says to this underling, it says to his underling, practice. And you just see them wiped out and dead. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I just wrote that scene in my head, right? And it's just to show the guy's a badass. He did nothing to convince me, or then even he takes someone out that doesn't believe him. Why are we wasting resources on this? We are preparing, so someone questions his judgment. We're preparing, takes that person out, kills him.
What was the cargo they were loading into the, is it called the Chimera? Is that what the Star Destroyer is called? Chimeras! They're loading stuff in the Chimeras. They're turning the frogs gay. Sorry. Went Alex Jones.
But just there's so many other ways. Think of other introductions.
That's what they were loading in the Chimeras. I don't know what the ship was called.
Other introductions of sorry, Gary. Think of other introductions of inconsequential characters. Got such good, the introduction. Even go back to episode 1. Darth Maul talking to Sidious. They're cloaked and just having a that conversation's really good. And they're just it's so mysterious, and you're immediately engaged. Episode 1, by the way, which has aged well, but they just the writing is so subpar. It's so subpar, and it's disheartening. And Thrawn, they're chanting Thrawn. What makes him so great? And the guy, you know what? He may have the voice. Physically, I'm not buying it. I've seen nothing.
He's a good actor, but he's not. Yes. Yeah, he's just not. They needed him to go through. They needed to show us how badass he was. And they did not do that. And he's also not great in Rebels. Rebels is not a good show. It has its moments, but again, it's a kid's cartoon. And he's nothing like he is in the books. Nothing like he is in the books. And that's the biggest disservice. Go back and read the books. There's audiobooks. You can just read the books. They're good. They're good. I haven't read it in many a moon, but I guess there's a statute of limitations. Apologize. I was a bad kid. But yeah, Heir to the Empire. I stole it. I didn't have the money, so I stole the book.
I bought all the 3 hardcovers, and I read them playing the Star Wars soundtrack as I read them.
Hell yeah.
I'm playing Star Wars in the background, all symphonic orchestra, freaking John Williams, the GOAT, and reading it and just thinking, they're gonna make new Star Wars movie. This could be the movie, or at least a blueprint for the film. And
I still have the book. I still have that book.
Yeah,
the
book you stole.
I might have lifted from a Walden Books, and I still have the audiobook, the cassettes. I have the cassettes.
Oh, the cassettes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yep. Okay. Robert had he's been tweeting like a 14-year-old girl.
RMB?
Yeah, Robert had a really interesting tweet. Oh, God.
I have so many tweets in my drafts that I haven't publicly.
Sake, Robert. It was the one where he's basically, I'm no longer interested in Star Trek, Star Wars, or Marvel. I can't believe. While I'll watch, here it is. While I'll watch Loki, and this is Robert Meyer Burnett, our buddy, everybody's friend, Robert Meyer Burnett. While I'll watch Loki, I'm now completely disinterested in Marvel, Star Wars, Star Trek, and Star Wars. 5 years ago, if you had told me I'd feel that way, I'd have said you're insane. But here we are. 3 franchises die, all for the same reason, writing. And there's a little more than writing. It's a little bit more than writing, but for the most part, you're right. People get there eventually. Some of us got there a couple of years ago, but that's fine. But hearing Robert say that, for one, Robert's an honest guy. Really appreciate Robert.
It's all writing.
It is all writing. And why is the writing bad? We can get into why the writing is bad. Self-editing, fear, lack of talent. There's a severe lack of POTs, people of talent, in Hollywood, and overt messaging. And the reason people have such a slavish adherence to the message, which is an agenda, is lack of talent. They try to fit. People will do anything to get a job in Hollywood. Chris knows this. They will do, and they will do some dark, dark stuff. I've told the story before about a woman who was going through the process of getting a foster child to get money, not to take care of the foster child, to fund her fucking documentary.
Oh, I've heard you tell that story.
Piece of shit. That is just one story in a story of millions that what people will do to be famous, to become prominent. So yes, they will take every opportunity imaginable. They will falsely accuse a Dodgers pitcher of sexual assault. They will do a lot of shit to get money and famous. So they will also rely on the message. It's the easiest thing to rely on. Their identity, they will use that. They will exploit themselves and their identity to be famous. And the corporations will push this to be risk averse. They don't give a fuck about your identity. They don't care at all. Most of these corporations have fucking slaves working for them in other countries. And that's why they push this stuff. It's all a shield. It's all it's ever been. So
yeah, it's that's why whenever I see like an actor say something stupid, I'm like, first of all, it's a Tuesday in, Hollywood, whatever. I don't believe that most of the actors that say the things they say actually believe that, because these are people that were made famous by reading words that other people wrote.
Yes.
So they're kind of empty vessels in a sense. So when they're parroting things they heard their publicist or managers or something say, I feel like a lot of ways they're constantly auditioning and they'll do anything for a job. So it's like Ricky Gervais even said it. If ISIS created a streaming service, it would be, remember that line?
Greatest moment in award show history was his.
I was there.
Oh, you were there? Oh my God.
No, I was at the NBC because I knew people from, Comcast Universal. So I got invited to the official NBC party. So I was like in the overflow room watching on a big screen with a bunch of celebrities who couldn't get in the main room.
Were you laughing your ass off?
Laughing my ass off. And then the fun part of that night was Bill Murray wandered in for the after party and was behind the bar serving drinks.
Oh, that's awesome.
But not acting like he was famous at all. He's just like, what can I get you? And he was just effing around. It was hilarious. Oh, that was so fun.
Two actors who are probably the best examples of completely empty vessels. And I mean, IQ's probably hovering around room temperature, and they are beloved actors. Jeff Goldblum. You ever seen an interview with that guy? There's nothing going on in his head. It needs to be filled up. Really? That's right. It was somebody was trying to talk to him about The Fly, right? I was watching an interview about The Fly, which is a really deep movie. Amazing movie. And he couldn't get philosophical about it at all. He's just, I put on a lot of makeup and I did what the director told me.
Also, by the way, that guy is a renowned pussy hound. He is, and I've seen him one of these days, he does this lounge show. I mean, he's got this super young wife, just had like a new kid. I think he's in his late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, I like him.
He's had a kid.
He's a weirdo. He's a freaking weirdo, but he's not really there.
But I think he's a weirdo for good, not evil. Like, he does this show at a lounge in like Los Feliz it's just it's like him. He plays piano unbelievable, and he does like a jazz show where he'll like tell jokes and read tweets, and then he does like photos with people. I've seen it a couple times. It's fantastic. I don't know if he's doing it anymore.
Another one is Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart's a freaking moron.
I've seen him at Star Trek Vegas. Yeah, he's a himbo for sure.
He is a himbo.
Yeah.
He is an empty vessel. Doesn't mean Patrick Stewart, kind of pro-commie, watch Razor Fist video. Hollywood Was Always Red. He's got some great Patrick Stewart clips in there that are fantastic, that prove that William Shatner is the greatest captain, period. End of story. I like Jeff Goldblum. Just kind of a weirdo. I like weird, but kind of an airhead. Did not catch the interviewer was actually good, right? This is a rare thing. The interviewer for The Fly was, because I fucking love The Fly. I think one of the greatest movies ever made. One of Cronenberg's best, if not his best, probably his best.
Body horror, great, part of the best body horror films. Great score for that film.
And you want to talk about a remake that improves on I love the original. I do. Yeah. Watched it all the time on Channel 5 KTLA, but like really improves on the original. So
the concept, right. I really wish they had shown maybe what happened to the fly, like part fly, part human.
Help me.
That haunted me as a kid.
Oh yes,
seeing that, and it's just like the horrific thing of like being in the spider, about to get and then taking the stone and just ending its life. It was just horrific. That film, so good.
So good. Ahsoka, not good. Good. Like Garrett and I were kind of going back and forth on like how we're going to do this video. We're going to do the normal breakdown because I reviewed episode 1 through 3 and I got an idea, because the great thing about that is, because we were worried about time, I'm like, nothing happened. Like nothing happened in the show. The Anakin thing, right?
Oh, that was so dumb. Oh my God. Like I'm looking after you. I'm your guardian angel now. It's so dumb. Ahsoka was his side piece. Let's be honest.
Yep. And everybody's pointing out like, meanwhile, with your son, and he sees the Jedi temple burning. It's like,
yeah, where is he looking? Is he looking after Luke? You'd think he'd have more of a connection to Luke, because Luke is the one that turned him to the good side, to the light.
No,
right? You still get this connection with Ahsoka? I don't know. It just, I laughed when I saw that. It was so stupid. And like, that's an idea you think about in the writers, and you're like, no, that would be dumb, because it is dumb.
It's dumb. Well,
it's dumb.
That the other big problem, another reason the writing is bad, is the severe lack of masculinity at Lucasfilm and Disney right now. This forces female crap. That like any kind of masculinity is considered toxic masculinity, and every decision in this series, it's a pure intersectional feminist series. It got 10 out of 10 on the Sophie Award, Chris. This is before the last 2 episodes aired. Probably the only award it's going to win. But it won the Sophie Award for female empowerment. It was hard time reading this. There's like 50 takes of me reading this article because I'm fucking laughing because I can't take it seriously. But they do. They're like, this is so wonderful and powerful. Women exist in a TV show being powerful, but they're actually, if you really, you don't have to really look at it at all. If you just take a glancing look at Ahsoka, they're fucking idiots. Everybody's an idiot because the writers are idiots. Kind of a mean title to my stream last night, but Ahsoka's a dumb show written by dumb people. It is. With no experience in life, no sci-fi experience, no fantasy experience, but hey, let's rip off Lord of the Rings with wargs, the Pillars of Argonath, Mount Doom. Fucking he's looking at Mount Doom. It is so retarded. Ahsoka the White. Give me a fucking break. Star Wars was taken from serials from the 50s. Little elements of Flash Gordon, Dune, Lord of the Rings. But it became its own thing. It should not be emulating Lord of the fucking Rings. at all. When you can do your own thing, there's so much you can pluck for. But that's why Ahsoka is everything wrong with Star Wars. It's about reminding you of better things, because it can't be about anything because it's vacuous and soulless. So, yeah, sure. George got inspiration from samurai movies, so they tried to make it a samurai movie. How is it a samurai movie? Apparently, Dave Filoni thinks samurai movies are people staring at each other and some wacky flute playing in the background.
Also, by the way, George Lucas, as much as, he had influences from so many things from pop culture, including Marvel Comics.
Yes.
Including,
Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom, right. Like so many things, but also he had life experience. I mean, George Lucas was a gearhead. He loved cars, and he integrated that into, through the character of Han Solo, right? You've got the like you pointed out, the war veteran, the farm boy, the farmer, and a trucker, right? Like these are real people that I believe George Lucas probably
interacted with in Modesto, California.
Right.
Dude, American Graffiti is a great movie. It inspired Happy Days, one of the most seminal sitcoms ever.
Right.
And that was essentially, his first real movie. He did THX before that, but that was like a student film, man. Like this was his first real movie. He knocked it out of the park because it was, I got a word for you, authentic.
Yeah.
It was really
Not
authentic.
Just that, the soundtrack to it was like a big deal. And George this is how naive he was as a filmmaker. He didn't realize when he was like, yeah, I want to put all these songs in the movie. It's like, oh, you got to pay for those.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, shoot. Yeah. But the studio helped and ponied up.
In the mid-70s, the 50s revival was huge, and American Graffiti helped kicked it off. Sean Anna was still around and stuff, but the great 50s revival was pretty much kicked off by American Graffiti, proving the 20-year rule, by the way. A little around the 20-year rule, around 75, 1955, with trends. And he captured lightning in a bottle with that movie. If you haven't seen it, go see American Graffiti. It's freaking great. Great film.
They're doing a re-release to theaters.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, there's a re-release. If you look, it's a Fathom Events thing. I think I missed it, but I regularly pay attention to that stuff. And it's coming out in a new 4K version.
I saw that.
But I hope it's the actual just original movie. He did some digital touch-ups where he put
George
to supposedly fix things, like adding a sunset to one of the scenes. And then he put, this is not a joke, you're going to cringe when I tell you. I'm not sure if you know this.
I don't.
He added from episode 2, the little speed car that Anakin steals in episode 2 in the chase scene in the beginning. He put it at the diner. He added that, like a car that looks like that car from episode 2.
Did you know that there's Mel's Diners? There's 2 different kinds, but there's Mel's Diners in San Francisco.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so at the Sony Metreon, across the street from the Sony Metreon, we ate there, and there's one on Geary, which I think is still there. So there's 2 Mel's, there might be more, but there's 2 Mel's Diners in San Francisco, which are completely American Graffiti, George Lucas themed restaurants, 50s restaurants. Food is really good. I wouldn't go to the one near the Metreon because that's on 4th in San Francisco, and you'll probably get murdered. But if you go to the one on Geary, if it's still there, that's got a parking lot, which is a rare thing. And it's a good restaurant. Yeah, good fries.
There you go.
Good Reuben. The Reuben sandwich there is excellent. But nice. It's all pictures of American Graffiti. It's pictures of George Lucas filming it. It's all George Lucas themed. And it's a full-on 50s diner. Like,
that's great.
Yeah. You never been there?
No, I've never been to that one.
There's one in LA. There's one in
I've been to the one in LA.
Yeah.
I have been to one in LA. I didn't know there was one in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But wait, isn't the Metreon closed now?
I think so.
Closed? Like everything, San Francisco is it's becoming I used to, at least once a year, it's like, I'm going to the Bay Area. It's going to be fun. We're going to do this. We're going to bar hop. We're going to go to some restaurants. Like, San Francisco was a fun place to go. And now it's
used to be happening. So if you live in the UK, I'm going to mispronounce it, but you're Leicester Square. Mm-hmm. I just went there in the middle of the night and it was just buzzing and happening. That's kind of what downtown San Francisco used to be like. Not anymore.
Yeah, it's really disheartening what's happened in the state of California, but that governor's going to make a run. He's going to make a run. We'll see.
Don't like blackpilling, but oh,
Are we getting it?
we're getting it. It's the
It's
zombie
the-
apocalypse.
What?
This
Is
is a
that-
test of the national.
I'm not getting it.
I have two.
That's crazy.
I have two
Is
phones.
that like the? Oh,
The
there we go.
The 5G is the 5G
That
is getting
sounds
in my
like-
brain. I want
That
to eat
sounds like our
brains.
Amber Alerts.
Yes.
Oh my
This
gosh.
is when the nukes are coming.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, thank God. I was talking about
This will be
blackpilling
when
too.
the nukes are coming. Well, there you go. I got it. Wow. And my sound was off. So somehow it overtook the. That was weird.
So
like
if you're not in
vibrate
America, they announced that today they were going to do a full-on alert.
alarm testing.
Everybody's phone, on everybody's device.
kind of like what they did in Hawaii when they said the cruise missiles were on the way
Yeah.
and everybody freaked
Oh,
out. Do you remember that?
Yes, but it's kind of like what they didn't do in Hawaii when there was a fire and they didn't evacuate
Right.
everybody.
And
from
they
Maui.
didn't tell people. And then all these horrible things happen and there's been no accountability whatsoever. I feel like there's been way too many situations where people in positions of authority are not being accountable and it's terrible leadership. I went on a rant on Midnight's Edge.
I remember. I was there.
Happy you were there. And I was just pissed off. Like, you can just say words that will actually change the situation, which tells me they want this to happen. They want to drive down real estate prices in Beverly Hills.
Oh,
there's a reason for all of this.
all of this helps. The house always wins.
Yeah.
The house always wins. So when we start not trusting elections, when we start not trusting jury trials, that's all part of the plan.
You mean like now?
Like now. Dude, okay, I got it. Oh, wait, no, this one's in Spanish. Esta es una prueba del distimia nacolone del alerte en la braquilla de emergencia. El propósito es mantener y mejor. Let's talk about it. So,
Mejor.
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 ¿Dónde está
Mejor.
el baño?
Hey, we
Yeah,
gotta
no, it's all
talk
part of the
about-
plan. It's like the house always wins. They play two sides against each other. Everything gets destroyed. They get to rebuild it the way they want to rebuild it. That's how it's done. That's how it's done.
Hey, I gotta mention, I've had a DM exchange with X-Ray Girl.
Oh boy.
Nothing untoward, but we were discussing an event. She
yes.
She is gonna go to.
Oh, she's going to
this.
the Empire Strips Back.
The Empire Strips Back.
Oh, I want a
burlesque-
shirt like that.
Dude,
Well-
I still have my programs.
You got your
somewhere.
program guide? So here's a shirt from the event. It's coming to Toronto. This is it's sort of like this is the end of the tour. I know the guy who runs it. I'm telling you, it is so fun.
It's great. So
I can't wait.
there's programs that the programs are are fake Playboy Star Wars magazines from the 70s. They're pretty
It's
incredible.
So cool.
They're really
So
well.
cool.
So this is the guy who put together that book, Chris. You tell the story.
Yes. It's the history of Gotham City from like in like the 1919 through 1939.
Yep.
And it's this alternate. It's like this history of Gotham, sort of like in sort of Prohibition era America. It's awesome. It's so good. This guy Russell Beatty, he's so talented. So
he looks like an
did that
Australian
book.
gangster.
Yeah. And he's doing Metropolis and a Wonder Woman book as well. But so he did the Empire Strips Back show. It's his show. He created it. He also did a Game of Thrones version. Gary, look it up.
I already did.
Burlesque. Okay, good. I thought you might have. So, but what's cool about this show, it's like really simple. Like they play like pop music, but you've got, I don't want to ruin too much of it, but you've got a woman dressed like Luke Skywalker with no pants. Basically with a land speeder, and she's washing the land speeder. Of course, her tunic gets wet and she's getting all wet and she's like washing it's like a car wash.
I told
It's a
X-Ray
sexy
Girl there's
car wash.
one dude part that I phased out on and checked my phone, which is Han Solo.
That'll be my favorite part, I think.
It's Han Solo and Chewbacca. And Chewbacca is a big part of the show. So Han Solo and Chewbacca, and they're doing like a striptease kind of dance too. So one for the ladies, which I have no problem with. That's fine.
And then there's the dark Sith.
Oh, the Emperor is the best. I don't want to.
Oh my God! Yes, the Emperor is so fucking funny. It's funny.
You got to get front row seats. So, X-Ray Girl, please go with a group. Document your adventures.
Somehow Palpatine comes.
He comes.
Yeah.
I don't even want to ruin it. I don't want. It's better if you don't know. Going blind, but get there super early because there's like stuff happening. They have themed drinks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you had her at drinks.
Yeah. Themed drinks,
hey.
merch. So get the merch stuff. Like it's a blast. I've seen the show 3 times, and I think I've seen it 4 times now.
Okay.
It's so good.
That's a lot, Chris.
Yeah, I know, but see, each time I bring different people to see it. It's fun.
I want to see it again. Chris scored us some really good seats, and it was absolutely worth it. Had such a good time watching it. So if you have a chance to watch it, Empire Strikes Back.
Well, maybe we'll do like a little mini meetup if you guys want out in Toronto.
You should. Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto.
You got to announce or let people know like the date you're going to go maybe for the meetup.
Yeah.
Or let people know after, I don't know, like security reasons. I want to speak for you, but like just like that would be super fun. And then I'm telling you, you're going to love it. I just want to hear what you think of it, because I'll say this, let's just say the crowd was very diverse. There was as many women as men, and it's a fun, I mean, look, there's no nudity. There's no nudity. It's burlesque, right?
It's burlesque. So they have like the nipples are taped.
Yeah.
There's always something covering.
Yeah. Always something covering, but it's the idea is it's someone who understands Star Wars. The person who put this together understands Star Wars better than Disney Star Wars. The way that things are themed, and if you get jokes, it's great.
It's great. I already told the story of Princess Leia stripping and R2-D2 coming out and spitting out dollar bills is so funny.
Yeah,
it's so
like
funny.
the dollar bills going like this, but it's coming out of R2-D2's. Like,
it's so funny.
So good. It's so good.
And this guy's Batman book is unbelievable. They've done video. There's videos on YouTube that kind of go over it. I don't know if you can still get it or not, but
those videos exist. Yeah, they're
Chris
around.
sent me a copy. I love it. And
I think it's sold out. He only did 2,000 copies.
That's what they need to make a movie. You want to make an Elseworlds movie? You do a 1930s Batman movie. That would be epic. With no tech, all old stuff. Like, to me, he's a true detective, right? Yep.
Like, they tried to do that with the Robert Pattinson, but clearly he's got all this tech, and it just, to me, I don't like it. It's a period piece. Same thing with the Fantastic Four. Make it a period piece. Get those giant where you walk in a room and Reed Richardson stretching his arm across the room to adjust something on a giant device that he attaches to his head, that you look up in the ceiling and it's this whole thing and you have no idea what he's working on. No, he's probably just looking at porn.
Kirby's machinery is beautiful, and it practically it doesn't make any sense. It's not supposed to, because Reed is the smartest man alive, not fucking Riri or Shiri. It's Reed Richards, and it's part of his physiology. They retcon in that he's smart because his brain operates like his body does. It's not linear. That's why he's so fucking. He was smart to begin with. Getting his power made him smarter.
I don't know if I like that. That's kind of lame. That's a lame retcon.
It's a retcon.
He's just smart. He's just smart. I always, the Fantastic Four, as much as like I love Batman, obviously love Batman, the Fantastic Four was my gateway comic. I hope in my lifetime to see a good live action version
of Batman.
The Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah. No, but like, God, I would rather the people that are doing One Piece should do the Fantastic Four as a series. That would be great.
They should they got lightning in a bottle with that crew. And none of them are like seminal names. They will be now, but they got lightning they got a bunch of journeymen together, but it was the right crew. And
here's
the dumb also thing. Helps to have Oda around to tell you don't do that.
True. True.
Yeah.
Here's the dumb thing. That traditionally how these services work, like a Netflix, because someone even approached me like, how do I sell a show to Netflix? You do not sell a show to Netflix. You sell a show to a production company that already has a deal with Netflix making product because they trust this company. You're not going to out of the blue create a production company. This is why I believe that Disney cannot do television, because Marvel and Disney Studios, Lucasfilm have all created studios rather than farming out to a production company that is already very good at making television. This is why HBO Max is so successful, or the shows on Max now, whatever you want to call it. They deal with production companies.
What?
The production companies, same thing with One Piece. One Piece is made by a production company. They had a failure with Cowboy Bebop. I believe that they learned lessons.
They came out and admitted it.
Yes,
They
even
came
better.
out
They
and admitted it. Said, we read and the most important part was, we didn't listen to the fucking press. We read the comment sections. That's where they got their changes from. They listened to you. How fucking crazy is that? So we need to support that. I mean, as much as possible. You know, whether you think I think it's the perfect show. People who, but I didn't watch all the anime. If you think differently, that's fine. But I think for the most part, it seems like everybody's satisfied with that show. So that's your template. Will Hollywood follow it? Of course not. Of course not. We got to read some soups here.
Sure.
Danica will be on. We're going to reschedule because there was a timing miscommunication.
Well, there you are.
Pacific time, Central time.
No.
Stuff happens sometimes with the zones.
Well, when I was on the Pacific time, I just kind of thought everybody goes on Pacific time. But now that I live in Texas, I'm like, I'm going to call Chris. I'm like, oh, it's 6 a.m. I better not call Chris.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Text me.
Fed Zeppelin for $19.99 says, fun issue with random things they added to Ahsoka. Planet where very durable hyperspace whales go to die, necromancy, and a master tactician. Undead hyperspace kamikaze whales seems dangerous. Also, cool band name. Cool band. Yeah. What? Hyperspace kamikaze whales? That is a good band name. There's concepts that they plucked from the EU that they executed horribly. Kalyoth for $10. Hail! Halloween, the perfect school library book to teach school kids how to run from the enforced sex change teacher and administrators of the state. I agree. Should be required reading. Scott Kerr for $5 Canadian dollars here. How has the bigot as not watched Venture Brothers yet? Well, because he's a bigot. She has mournful tits. They're like 2 suicide notes stuffed into a glitter bra. That's from Venture Brothers. Oh God, I love that show. I love that show so much. P. Gomi for £5 Hail, Gary, Chris, and the lovely Exode Ghoul. The Spaceballs sequel yesterday was really fun. Liquid Schwartz for everyone. Right. There. Ministry of Wrongthink for $9.99. Riddle me this. Why did the master tactician Thrawn hold his ship right above the platform that gave access to it when he literally could have hovered somewhere while waiting for the hyperspace ring? Well, they weren't finished loading their cargo, but when they were finished loading their cargo, they then very slowly attached to the ring and then very slowly took off to give our heroes enough time to infiltrate the ship. It was fucking stupid.
It was. If they're going to do that, look, I don't mind all these sort of like plot conveniences. You can explain it in a line. One line, or even a glance at just anything. It's just, I can't believe it's bad. Right. Robert Burnett is correct. It's all bad writing. That's what's killed. You can't fault other and look, I actually don't have a problem with the special effects. Some of them are worse than others. Those weird wolf creatures they were riding were kind of dumb, but whatever.
Wargs.
It's whatever. You'll excuse it. You will excuse effects that are kind of cheap if you're engaged in the story, you don't notice. One Piece didn't have 100% perfect effects for
No, it did
everything.
not.
Look, some look stupid, but you know what? We're not talking about any of that. Why? Didn't even notice. Didn't notice because I was so engaged with the character.
I will give you an example of a bad special effects scene in One Piece that totally worked because it had emotional impact. So when Garp was going after Luffy and he threw the cannonball at him and then Luffy blows up and shoots the cannonball back into the ship, everything about that looked pretty bad. But I didn't care because when you cut to the real scene, they had a real mast coming down. Right. But there was still emotion. We just got that big revelation that Grandpa, what the fuck? Grandpa, and then, Luffy fights him off and Garp follows it up with, he gets pissed. I love the character of Garp, how he kind of falls in between being a Marine, being pissed, and then goes right into being a proud grandpa going, oh yeah, that was a good one. I freaking love that. So you care about the characters, there's emotional impact, and then you don't notice that the cannonball exploding on the mast of the ship looked like shit. It did. But I watched Doctor Who. There's tinfoil, paper mache fucking monsters running around, but the characters were so engaging. I didn't care. I didn't give a crap. Star Trek, the original series, everything is like foam sets, and I don't care. God, it feels like they went outside in that series more than they do in modern Christmas Trek. That's me, though. It doesn't matter. If you have engaging characters and engaging writing, all that other stuff is just ancillary and filler. Like, yes, it helps to have some decent special effects for the most part. But yeah, the wargs wouldn't have bothered me at all if I gave a crap about anybody who's writing them, which I didn't.
Right.
Three Bear Thunder on the Streamlabs side for $50. $50. Star Wars was probably the first movie I ever saw with my dad and the pre-special edition VHS set that I watched all the time. We went to every prequel opening and Disney ruined it. Now he or I can't even be bothered to watch the new stuff. And it's affecting the older stuff. It is. Someday I'll probably be able to go back and watch thankfully somebody sent me despecialized editions in 4K. Thank you very much. And go watch those and enjoy them. Not now. This is a story from back when I was in San Francisco. Empire Strikes Back was on in the gym, and it's Han Solo getting into the Millennium Falcon. And I'm just, that's the guy who walked in the lightsaber from his son.
Yeah.
First thing I saw, and I'm like, damn it. And that's me. Like, we can cut certain things off, right? And eventually you can just go, well, our thing ended here. Star Wars ended with Return of the Jedi. It just did.
Yeah.
Doctor Who ended after the 50th anniversary special. Star Trek ended with Enterprise. If you want to say it ended with Picard season 3, I think that's doable. Why not? You still have some leftovers though in that. It makes it tough, but I enjoyed that. That was my favorite show of the year until I saw One Piece. The Grizzly for $5. Hey Gary, could you clear something up? Certainly. I just saw a trailer for Dune saying it was released November 7th, but I still thought they were delaying this film. They are. It's still on all the posters, and I think if they're fucking smart, they put it back on the release date. But once it's abandoned, I think it gets filled by another movie, and they can't do it.
Yeah, I actually saw the trailer in a theater, the theater I go to, and it said March 15th at the end of the trailer. It costs a little bit of money to change it. They have to send out new files to show at the theater. They don't print new trailers. They send out a new file that has the correct, and I've seen the correct thing there. I think it actually, they're using it as an excuse because they want talent to promote it because it's got such a great cast. And secondly, I think Denis Villeneuve is using it for more time. I think he needs more time with the effects. I think that it's supposed to be 3 hours. It's looking at 3-hour runtime for Dune Part 2. So I think part of it was like, the strike stuff. And another thing is like, oh my God, you mean I've got an extra 5 months to work on effects for this movie? Please give this to me.
Yeah.
So I think it's actually going to be good for the movie in the long run, but it sucks for this fall because what do we got? Marvels and Aquaman 2. And then this movie with Emma Stone that I can't wait for called Poor Little Things. Have you seen the trailer for that?
No.
Oh my God. I think I sent it to you, Gary. You may have seen it. Where she's basically, this guy creates a woman. It's like Bride of Frankenstein. This guy creates a woman and she just sort of is enamored by the world and discovers sex. So
okay. I Silent Night. I saw that trailer, fell in love with it.
With Joel Kinnaman? Yeah, that looks great.
that
looks fucking awesome. John Woo.
Yeah, that looks good.
Baseman for $19.99. All hail the Nooner. Chris, can't thank you enough for recommending the Secret History of Star Wars audiobook. It is the nerd boner inducing palate cleanser for all Ahsoka that I need. So dang good. Hail the fellowship and hail to you. Thank you.
Thanks. Gary, you got to get, when you've got like a long drive ahead of you.
Well, I've got one coming up soon. T1S for $5. Hey, Gary, where did you get your 1/6 scale Nazgul figures that you mentioned the other day? Also, hi, Frank Gore. Hail from West Michigan. I got them from Sideshow. They limit you. So I had some. There were some that were available prior to Sideshow carrying them, and I had 3, and then I ordered 6. And that's your limit. You can get a case, and I think they're still there. But then you got to get the horses, and those are a little harder to find. I don't have all 9 horses, and I'm not going to get all 9 horses. But
can I tell you? Can I tell you what I ordered?
What
that I got? I got Skibbity toilet action figures.
Oh God!
Actually exists.
Oh my God!
It's a Skibbity toilet, which is I'm sure you've seen all 60 episodes. Gary,
no.
Skibbity toilet action figures are something you can get. So I am now collecting all of my favorite characters from Skibbity Toilet.
Excellent.
This is where we are now. Where a show called Skibbity Toilet is more engaging than Ahsoka. So there you go.
Yep. That I believe.
Completing my collection.
Good. Disco Stew for $10. When is Dan Vass going to float to America on a raft made out of garbage and come to the meetup? Once he's done making it. But I think he has to bail out some family members after they were kidnapped by groups of child gangs. Jim Reaper for $1.99. There are theories about Quina and her death. I imagine, listen, without knowing a single thing, I read a couple of the mangas, but they were like volume 45 or something like that. So I didn't know what the hell I was reading, but I kind of liked the story. I wasn't a big fan of the art. But you could tell there's a lot more, but it was enough. But there's little moments. And this is where you can tell there's a deep lore to the show. When Luffy is getting kidnapped by, I forgot his name now, like Halkumba or whatever, one of the raiders. And Shanks saves him. They have a quick conversation, just a little conversation between the kid. And the kid's like, you're going to wish you were never, little kid Luffy says, you're going to wish you were never born. And the guy responds by saying, I already wish I was never born. Do you need to put that line in there? No. But that adds so much depth to being a pirate in that world, to that character in his brief moment before he dies. And that's a little thing. Those are little details that make things great that Disney is completely lost. So you got a little layer of this character, like he's actually miserable, you know, and you didn't need to put it in there at all, but they did. And it was a great move. And it just adds that little thing, you know, and they do that so much. I only get to half of it. I could have fucking done a 3-hour review on this. Easy. On like why it's great. Like why it spoke to me and why it's everything I like. And it takes you to this fantasy world that's completely bonkers and you buy into it where people are talking on fucking snails and they have fucking hats that say Marines on them. Everything about that's stupid. The world government is called the world government. You know? It's so funny. And it's great. I just wanted to thank Chris for Revenge of the Sith audiobook recommendation. It was brilliant. So much better than the movie, Poetic and Haunting. Blackie Blackerton for $9.99. The adaptation, the novelization is fantastic of Revenge of the Sith.
I think that might have been your recommendation, Gary, but I should do that because I've heard that from multiple people that the Revenge of the Sith novelization is really good.
Yeah, read the book or listen to the audiobook. It's really good. Really, really good. Some of the best it's some of the best Star Wars, period.
Okay. I'm going to add that to my list.
doing it as well.
Did anyone see Dave Filoni walk the picket line, or was he too embarrassed to be seen with real writers? NG Topia for $9.99. He's too busy.
It's Alan, isn't it? Ingtopia?
What?
It says
Ingtopia.
Ingtopia.
Alan.
Ingtopia.
Well, that's Alan Ing. That's Alan Ing.
Why didn't you say Ing the Merciless? I would have recognized that.
Ing the Merciless. Is what...
You need to change your name.
Yes, he is. I think he was too busy walking his dogs, or doing what his wife told him. Matthew Facchine for 5 Canadian pesos. I hate the idea that everyone can now be a Jedi/Sith. It was meant to be a small percentage of the people who can harness that power. Disney ruined Star Wars. Disney ruined Star Wars a long time ago. But yes. Mark Rocha. Rocha Face Killer for $10. I just got to say, Chris Gore is my go-to movie reviewer. I love your takes and your insight. Gary, you are the king of verbalizing my rage at modern day Hollywood. Cheers. I plan to do plenty of that in my next video. Well, I don't know what comes out first. I don't know if it's One Piece or Ahsoka. You're going to get 3 videos from me within a week and a half.
Wow.
You're spoiling everyone.
I've been on a bit of a dry spell because I was traveling a lot. The truth behind that was you were supposed to get one more, and I tried to record it in that Mermaid Hotel in London, and I couldn't. It was such a disaster. So I'm like, forget it. Laszlo for $9.99. Kang or the bad guy should have been Cheadle Ejiofor, who is from Serenity and 12 Days a Slave from Serenity. Yes, he's a great, great actor, and he's better actor than Jonathan Majors. His calm, eloquent, and vicious demeanor would have elevated even the role 1,000%. You're correct. I wanted him to be the Doctor. I thought he would have been a great choice for the Doctor, but then I think it became too big for it. Grafweb for $2. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Yes. Matthew Facchine for $2. They will sell their souls to be famous. Yes, they will. Mac Baseman for $9.99. After watching the Ahsoka finale, one thing is painfully apparent. The Balon character was included for the express purpose of sidelining him. Nefarious as fuck and waste of talent. Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson. Okay, we're going to do a couple more and then I got to go. God, my stomach's growling, man. Should have ate before the show. Citizen 7 for $10. Gary, I just finished watching the finale episode of Ahsoka. Damn near threw up in my mouth. Nothing makes sense and everything's bizarre plot convenience. The series is utter garbage. Yeah, I got the same feeling. It's Secret Invasion of Star Wars. I thought Ahsoka would just be normal bad. And the last episode, like, leveled it down to complete garbage that requires a video. Like, this is like everything they continue to do make the same mistake every single time. It's a meaningless, pointless show. You're wasting your time watching it. It takes you nowhere. It just brings Thrawn back. That's it. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything with Thrawn, doesn't show any of the setup. It doesn't really tell you or show you that this guy's a menace. Like, Luke Skywalker should dispatch him in about a nanosecond. Ahsoka finale made me snooze until Sabine used the Force. Didn't care after. How are the Star Wars comics better than the show? Or is that just me? Jose Tabis for $5. I don't know about the newer ones. The Dark Horse ones are for sure. And Gary, how did Thrawn's ship know to go out of the atmosphere without an antenna ray to show the way? You mean to tell me this is outdated ship and is better than Palpatine's ship? Why did it stay on the ground and let Jedis enter it when they could have easily left or just killed them? Ahsoka filming fails. I was distracted by how many times the face of the witch's stunt double was visible and the terrible saber wielding of the Jedi Ahsoka D+ amateur hours, done all with Star Wars bullshit, says Mac Baseman for $9.99. That duel between two old women that my wife was watching and said, I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to see a bunch of slow old women duel. I'm going to bed. She just wanted to keep me company while I was up there. And she couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. All right, we'll get the rest on a square up The Grizzly. We'll get the Grizzly for $10. I've been calling Hollywood Hollywoke since 2019 for good reason. There are so incredibly isolated, even without mandates of the story team. They can't write stories that relate to normies or humans. 470,000 brain cells lost just to hear Ahsoka the Ronin and Sabine Ray Jr., the farce is female. I can't suffer like this anymore. And that's X-Wing. Hail X-Wing for $4.99. Go check out his channel. All right. Chris, what you got coming up?
Hollywood on the Rocks with Ingtopia, or Alan Ing.
Ingtopia.
We're going to talk about Loki season 2, the Ahsoka finale. We're talking to an independent filmmaker about an indie movie. We do that every week. And just join us. It's a lot of fun. We're also going to be talking about this first AI created femme fatale in film history, which is on Full Moon Entertainment. And maybe we'll talk about Skibbity Toilet. Who knows? But
Skibbity Toilet.
Hollywood on the Rocks. Hollywood on the Rocks in an hour.
Starts in an hour. And in the meantime, when you jump out of here, you can go watch Az and Eric July. They're streaming right now. So go check them out, please.
I don't want to extend the stream, but what the hell is going on with Ricada and Eric July?
Don't know.
I need a TLDR of that. I'll find it.
Yeah, I'm drama is gay and grown men can work it out. That's all I'm going to say. I love Eric. Eric is a friend. I love Ricada, and I think they're working out, and I hope they work it out. But I honestly don't know all the details. I've been with the traveling and kind of knee deep in my own work. I don't really know. I just saw it happening on Twitter, and I was like, well, I hope they stop.
I started watching because I watch Ricada at night, and then I came right in the middle of a stream, and they were in this heated argument, and it is not like friendly at all. Like, it's not like you and I disagreeing about, whatever. Like, they were like angry at each other, and I was oh wow,
that happens.
Dad and dad are fighting.
Dad and dad are fighting. But
but
I think it's
feel
cool
like
now.
I'm Sweden.
I think it's cool now.
Oh, I don't know. I'm Sweden with this stuff. I try to not involve myself in any drama, even though invariably if you're on Twitter, YouTube, you will get involved in some.
You will get involved and you will see it. Well, I mean, there's a very easy way to not get involved. Mind your fucking business. That's
right.
That's basically what I do. It's counterproductive for what we do on this channel. I don't want to talk about other creators like that. I'll poke fun at somebody once in a while. I'm not perfect, but it's just poking fun at Campia or something, largely because, and I said it on Midnight's Edge, that my one issue with him is that he goes after the fans. If he didn't go after the fans, I don't care what he thinks about fucking Shang-Chi. I don't give a shit.
Well, I know X-Ray Girl's going to do a react video to the one video that you were.
No, but go watch Eric. Go watch Eric and Az, and I think I'm streaming with Eric in the next week or two. So yeah, good deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. What do you got coming up, X-Ray Girl?
Tonight we have Rebecca Barrett coming on Poor Choices. She's a previous feminist turned mother. It's very interesting to see her viewpoints on all that is going on today in terms of the dating world. But in any case, follow us over there and X-Ray Girl everywhere else.
Cheers. We got one more from 3 Beer Thunder on the Streamlabs side for $32.10. Very specific. By the way, how the fuck do space whales float around in the vacuum of space and not violently slam into the ground at atmosphere, or at least and Trek tried to have some logic, but fuck me for thinking, hey, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. What happened to that whale that was just blinked into existence? He fell and went splat. Why do they have plankton teeth? Did you notice that they have plankton? Like, is there space plankton?
Like the little grills,
yeah.
Push water out. Oh yeah, that's.
Excuse me, I sneezed.
Space shrimp. Yeah,
maybe it's space plankton. I don't know. I don't mind fantasy creatures. I don't. But we start, as Chris pointed out, and this is where we'll end it. We start noticing inconsistencies, plot holes, contrivances when we don't give a fuck about the characters. When we don't. I'm sure the X-Files and Buffy and Angel and Battlestar Galactica all had their episodic television. There was inconsistencies. It didn't matter because we loved the characters. We were following the characters. And the characters were consistent. Now, there are examples of shows where new writers come on and the characters start not acting like the characters anymore. And that does kill a show. It does a lot. All right. So we'll see you next Wednesday with Chris. And this Friday, we have Disbrew on Friday Night Tights. We're going to be talking Loki and Ahsoka. I am going to get back to work on my Ahsoka video right away. And hopefully you'll see it tomorrow.
Cool. All right. Take care, everyone.
Take care, everyone.